Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you had a second chance? Are you willing to take a gamble, open your heart, and change your thoughts and perspective for a new chance at life? Welcome to the Wisdom Cafe. I'm your host, Arthur Tassiello, a relationship and leadership coach and mentor. Join me each week for insights into how you can have more love, happiness, peace, and abundance in your life without giving up who you are. Know that you are powerful and you are the governor of your life. So listen, learn, and leap into a better future. Welcome to Wisdom Cafe. I'm your host, Arthur Tassiello, and I'm passionate about helping you have great relationships and more love and peace. Would you like to understand why you don't have more loving, kind, and happy relationships? And why your career or business is not more successful? See, for decades, I have researched, read books, watched videos, and had conversations with psychologists, therapists, gurus, and masters to help me improve my relationships and have more successful career. I've studied the teachings from the Bible, the Torah, Kabbalah, the Zohar, Course in Miracles, Buddhism, and more, searching for what it takes to have these things. Over decades, I've done the hard work, diving deep into this information and making changes in how I think, the words I use, and how I act. This is the knowledge, this is the understanding in essence. This is the wisdom I will be sharing with you at the Wisdom Cafe. So I've written many books so you can have more peace, love, happiness, and success in your life. But first, I want you to ponder this. How important is it to you to have more love, peace, and happiness and success? Are you willing to make changes in your life? Are you willing to invest time? Are you willing to give up old habits? Are you willing to take responsibility for how you think? So if you're ready to dig deep, then just say, hell yes, I'm ready, because that's what I want. And this is the wisdom I will be sharing with you, which will be wasted if you don't use it. You see, I know you, and I know that you need this information. But until you want it, really want it, and stop blaming someone else for not having it, you will not have the love, peace, happiness, and success that you seek. You see, I've been working on myself for decades. And every day I still work on being the best person that I can be. I'm not perfect, and sometimes the past and feelings crop up and they get in my way. But it's only because I really want this do things work differently. Each day I start with having gratitude for whatever I have, because I have found the secret to having peace, love, happiness, and success. So in addition to this weekly show, please consider purchasing any of my books on Amazon. It not only helps pay for the show, but will also help you follow along and build a solid foundation for yourself that will continue to enrich your life and those around you. So if you want to improve your relationship with yourself and others, just go to Amazon and search for Arthur Tassiello, and you can buy the books there. I'm also working on an online course for all of us, which follows my book, Your Key to Love and Happiness. Now, I know you're here to get tips and info on love, peace, happiness, and success, but I want to share a little bit about me so you understand that what I write about and speak about are what I live. So I grew up in New Jersey to a very loving mom and a workaholic dad. And until I was 13, I lived in a very small apartment, and with my sister as well. At 13, we were lucky enough that my dad had enough money that we moved to a house in the suburbs. And it was a small house, but it was something that was way different than living in a city and everything that went on in the city. So suburb life was interesting and kind of fun. At 17, I went off to college, and I never went back to live in that house again. I was always on my own. But I want to share with you a miracle story, because miracles do happen. When I was 21, I got married, and at 23, I was graced with having a son. Now, I loved him, but I really didn't know how to be a dad. Fatherhood really escaped me, and I thought what fatherhood was all about was to go and work. Work as much as you can, do those things that we think we're supposed to do, go out there and buy the house and buy the car or 2 cars or whatever that is. But unfortunately, 4 years later, his mom and I divorced. And I became the part-time dad. And so part-time dad wasn't any easier than being the full-time dad. I lived close, but still not understanding what fatherhood was all about. I became that dad that didn't always show up, and that being very selfish at times. And other things also got in the way. What really hurt the relationship even more was when my son turned 14, I got a job 3,000 miles away in Southern California. I needed the job, and I wanted it, and I wanted a new setting. But again, this was kind of selfish of me not to think of how that would impact him in his life. I would see him occasionally. He'd come out to see me occasionally, but it wasn't really enough. It wasn't enough because a full-time dad is really needed by any child, just as a full-time mother is. Anyway, 6 years later, funny thing happens. I really thought about how I impacted our relationship, and I just needed to speak to someone. So I looked up to the heavens and I said to God, you know, God, I haven't been the greatest dad. I hope I'm forgiven for that. But I want you to know, if I ever became a father again, I would be totally different. So what's really interesting is that I'm still single in California. I'm not thinking about getting married, and I'm certainly not thinking about having any more children. 2 years after that, I meet someone, we get married, and 14 months later after our marriage, we had a little girl. So, as you saw in the rolling credits in the beginning, we talk about second chances. Maybe we sometimes get a second chance and don't recognize that. But I was blessed, and I am so thrilled to have a daughter who is now 31. And I have to tell you that I've been the best dad that I can be, which is a lot better than I was to my son, because now with my son I wasn't there for all the little things, all the soccer and all the plays and all of those things, but with my daughter I made sure I did that all the time. Those are the important things in life. And those are some of the things that through my life, through my experiences, through my education, I want to share with you. Because sharing this information may change your life as well. I'm so happy that my son has forgiven me for not being that better dad. And there is no perfection in life, I want you to know that. We all make mistakes and we all do things. But perhaps by sharing that one story with you, you'll understand the importance of your children. And that doesn't mean you're going to get along with them all the time, for sure. Sometimes you're going to have tough times. Sometimes you'll want to be their friend, and you can't be their friend all the time because you still have to be a parent. Life throws a lot of curves at us. Life does a lot of things to us. So, like many of you, I will share with you my struggles and issues. But those things, that past doesn't stop me from doing my best to be a better person today. So again, I'll be sharing with you my experiences, my education, my studies, just as examples of what you can do to have a better life. I will have people on the show, like Lynn Everard is here with me, and he'll come on in a little bit and we'll talk about some of the things in life that we want to impart to you to make things better for you. By the way, my why for doing this is because I want life to be filled with love and peace. All life, across the planet. And I know many of you might say, yeah, right, Arthur. How can you have peace on this planet? Look at everything that's going on. Well, there is that possibility. It may not be probable to do this, but it is possible to do this. So anyone can change if you're willing to change, to be the better person, to have that love, peace, happiness, and success. But it will take energy and you wanting to make those changes. And it's just one of the many reasons why I'm so passionate about what I write and speak about, why I'm passionate about creating positive moral habits and wanting to help as many people as possible create better lives. Now I want to give you a little morsel to live by, and you can live by this every day. Consider writing it down, and because this is how you begin to change. Watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. Watch your actions because they become your habits. Watch your habits because they become your character. And watch your character because it will become your destiny. So if you want peace, you want to live on a peaceful planet, then remember it all begins with you. As Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. So stop thinking that it's always somebody else's fault and that if someone else changed, your life would be better. Your life is an inside job. It comes from you. It comes from within. So for now, if you want to relax a little bit more, put away your phone or tablet or your computer. Of course, if you're watching this on one of those devices, don't put them away. Take this time to learn something new and helpful that I hope will provide you with more peace, more love, more success, more happiness, and sanity in your life. So I'll leave you with this quote by Wayne Dyer, who said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Thank you for this part. And now I'd like to introduce Lynn Everard. He is our guest today. And Lynn, tell us a little bit about yourself first, would you?
Sure. Well, Arthur, I want to start by congratulating you on taking this big step forward for you to have this show.
Thank you.
And to share so many things that you've learned along your journey in life. And, you know, we all kind of have a similar journey, a similar life, right? We go through things, we learn lessons. Sometimes we need to learn the lessons more than once. Mm-hmm. So the things that we thought we were through happen again, so we get a little further along in learning the lesson. And so I think that's life for all of us, really. And so that's been my life. And
but you're more than just that. So tell the audience, tell us what you do, what you're passionate about.
So what I'm really passionate about is very similar to what you're passionate about, mm-hmm. which is being a contribution to people's lives and making a difference in the world, mm-hmm. making an impact in the world so that the world becomes better one individual at a time. Mm-hmm. Now, the first individual I have to start with is me, right? Because I can't do anything out there if I don't do it in here first. Mm-hmm. And this is so difficult for us to understand sometimes, mm-hmm. is that it starts here, mm-hmm. and then it can go out there. And actually, if we do enough here, and we put enough energy into it and reclaim our energy from all the places that it's gone to where it hasn't really served a purpose, mm-hmm. Then we can create something incredibly powerful within ourselves.
Mm-hmm. You know, I want to just say something, and that is all of us have come from a place of some difficulty, if not a lot of difficulty. And so when we do these things, and why we're passionate about it is because we have broken through, so to speak. Right? Broken through those issues from the past, those troubles from the past. And it may not be 100% that we've, I won't say cured ourselves, but came to a better place in life. And to help other people because we know the struggles that we've had. I know the struggles that you've had. You'll share that, I'm sure, at some point in time if you feel like it. But we've come from those places that are uncomfortable, that have, and I'm putting it mildly uncomfortable, because some of us, more than others, have had real struggles in life and have been plagued with things that no one should be plagued with. So we do this because, I'll say for me, and I know for Lynn, because we love you, because we care about you. As much as we care about ourselves, we care about you. We want you to be virtuous. We want you to have compassion, empathy, love, be kind, care for somebody, just care, really care that you can care enough for yourself to be caring for others. We're not asking anybody to give up their life, but give some part of their life so that we all can live peacefully and happy.
Absolutely. You know, Arthur, I recall you asking me a question about, what did I see as standing in people's way of being the love that they know that they are?
Yes.
Right? And being able to give that love into the world. And this is something that I've thought about for a long time. And the answers started to really come through in a big way a couple of months ago. And one of the things I realized was that in our world today, we are living in a sea of guilt. Literally every direction we turn, there's somebody trying to make us feel guilty about something.
Right.
And, it goes so far as to people wanting to make us feel guilty about our thoughts. And when we feel guilty about our thoughts and we're told that our thoughts are bad and wrong, we start putting all of this energy into policing our own mind. And this is different than, I agree with what you said in your opening, that thoughts do become things. But if we get too caught up in managing every little thought, then we're exhausted. We don't have the ability to love people, because if we've turned all of that in on ourselves, we've actually become powerless, and we've become at the mercy of anyone and anything who can make us feel guilt about ourselves. I mean, we've got people in our world right now that want us to feel guilty about being alive. And if you experience enough guilt over and over and over again, then that guilt slowly becomes shame. And the way that Brene Brown explains it is that guilt says, I did something bad. But shame says, I am bad. And so if we operate from shame, we believe that we're bad, and now we've got to do everything we can to convince ourselves and people around us that we're not bad. We put so much energy into that, right?
Right.
And then, so where's the energy for love going to come from if we are so consumed with just trying to deal with our shame and hide it and deal with our thoughts and police our thoughts?
So how do we manage that, though? And now, I think we had a little bit of a conversation earlier, a little bit about this, managing. So we don't want to really manage our thoughts, but in some ways we have to manage our thoughts. How do we deal with that? It's because thoughts are coming at us they're in our heads all the time. We're always thinking, and 90% of the time we're thinking about ourselves, right?
Yes, so we've been programmed in many different ways to believe that if we've thought about doing something, we've already done it.
That's interesting. I've never pondered that.
So there are some religions that actually teach that. I don't know who remembers President Jimmy Carter, but he famously had a conversation with his daughter Amy, and he explained one day that if you look at a woman with lust in your heart, you've committed adultery in your heart.
I've heard that before.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all of these things have an impact on us. And we get to the point where, we're trying to manage these thoughts. But the point is that we all have light and darkness in us. Psychologists call the darkness shadow. But shadow is an interesting term because it comes with it is packed full of judgment. Have you ever heard anybody say how excited they are about their shadow? Right?
I don't know if everybody knows that they have a shadow,
right.
or even knows the term.
I just love
Right.
my shadow. I love all the crazy stuff it can do. Right? We don't really hear that. But our darkness is actually neutral. And because we have free will, we get to choose what we're going to do with our darkness. We can decide to take that darkness and use it for evil. We can also decide to take that darkness and use it for good. If we decide to use the darkness for good, we simply need to understand that we are going to have all kinds of crazy thoughts. But those thoughts in and of themselves are not worthy of us shaming ourselves.
So do you think darkness is something that we've experienced? Or do you think, because you mentioned we have a dark side and a light side.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. Everybody has that duality about them. Well, I guess what I'm trying to get to is the depth of that darkness. Why do you think the darkness affects some people in a bad way, and other people use that darkness, like things that happen to you or things that happen to me, that we want to change that into a more loving experience, or share some of those experiences like we were talking about, so that other people don't have those troubles, let's put it that way.
Right. So the programming that we've all been involved in, right? Because we think that our powerlessness is a weakness within us. There's something wrong with us because we feel powerless. And many people feel powerless today. We talk about what's going on in the world, like, oh my God, what am I going to do about this? And I don't know what they're going to do next, and all this kind of stuff. But that powerlessness is not a weakness in us. It is a result of external programming that we've been programmed with for years. Depending upon how old you are, you've been programmed for decades with all of this. So that's where it gets really interesting.
So I think we'll get back to this in a minute. We're going to go to a commercial break here, and we'll see you in just a little while. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying this, and come on back.
Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you had a second chance? Are you willing to take a gamble and change your thoughts and perspective? Welcome to the Wisdom Cafe. I'm your host, Arthur Tassiello, a relationship and leadership coach and mentor. Join me each Wednesday at 3 p.m. to explore what it is to be human and create that second chance.
You've been watching The Wisdom Cafe with Arthur Tassiello. For more information, please contact the studio at 888-994-4995 or send an email to arthur@arthurtassiello.com. And now, back to the show.
Well, welcome back to the Wisdom Cafe. I hope this conversation is not only interesting to you, but you're learning something from it. You know, we're ad-libbing here. There's nothing scripted between us. We're just going by the experiences that we've had, the things that we've studied, and wanting to bring more goodness, whether it's spiritual health or mental health or financial wealth to you. Something here I hope resonates for you that helps change your life for the better. Now, everybody needs some changes in their life. No one gets through this or escapes this life without having some issues, some problems, some troubles, whatever that may be. And whether that is with your parents or your kids or your significant other or other family members or your peers, your workmates, whoever that is, relationships are key. Good relationships are a key to your success. And I will repeat always, they're a key to your peace and happiness in life. So if you want more peace, and if you want more happiness, and you want more love, I always say that you have to give those things. If you're loving, love comes back to you. If you're kind, kindness comes back to you. If you're caring, most times people will care for you. In fact, if you've ever gone into the store, which I do all the time, I like to smile all the time to everyone, and I'm always getting smiles back. People in the stores get to know me because I'm friendly and I'm kind to them. And you can do the same thing. Life does not have to be filled with trouble every minute of your day. In fact, when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is have gratitude for what I have, regardless of what that is. And that sometime in the future we'll get into more of my stories about having wealth and not having wealth, having a big home and being homeless, because I've experienced all of those things. And that's why I'm so passionate and about sharing kindness and love. So let's get back to Lynn a little bit. We were talking about, our psyche basically, and our belief systems, and how we can kind of get through these thought processes that some thoughts are good and some thoughts not so good. And I'm kind of stuck in my head about monitoring it, because in one way we don't want to monitor some of those thoughts, but in other ways we don't have much of a choice.
Right. I want to share with you that I have created a new group coaching program.
Awesome.
Called Integrate Your Darkness, Intensify Your Light. And if people would like to find out more about it, they can go to intensifyyourlight.com.
Okay.
And it'll explain more of how the program works. But basically, integration, we have layers of transformation, right? Mm-hmm. So we might go through an initial transformation where we understand, okay, I get this now, but how am I going to apply it into my life, right? Mm-hmm. How am I going to bring it in every day, mm-hmm. in every moment, mm-hmm. so that it guides me, so that it gets me where I want to go? Mm-hmm. And that's integration. And a lot of times people will have an experience that they call transformation, mm-hmm. but they don't integrate it. They don't take the time to apply what they've learned into their life.
How do they know that they're really having a transformation?
Well, sometimes they'll go through different programs, mm-hmm. right? There's all kinds of programs. There's weekend experiences, there's retreats, there's healing events, there's all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. And people often go for the experience because they come out with an emotional high. But
sure.
An emotional high is not enough to change a mindset. Mm-hmm. And where the integration comes in is actually in shifting the mindset, because it's the shift in mindset that actually produces the results that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. One of the dangers is people get so addicted to the experience, they never get to shift the mindset. They never get around to actually resolving anything. They don't mm-hmm. get the results that they want, but they've become addicted to the emotional high.
So, as you're talking about that, I'm visualizing what a lot of us go through, which is wanting someone to kind of step in and help us manage our life, so to speak, so that we can have more peace and love in our life. It's not always easy, but that's something for another day and another conversation. But you and I also talked about one other thing, and that is, I want to get to, and perhaps you'll come back next week, and as we talked about Simon Sinek, and, yes. And he's always asking you, what's your why? But then again, he never really told us what the whys are.
Right, he never defined it.
Never defined the whys. So you mentioned someone else that has defined the whys, and who is that?
So that's Dr. Gary Sanchez,
okay.
who is the founder of the Why Institute.
Oh, which makes sense. The
yes, right.
Why like this? I don't know.
Yes, and so I'm a certified professional why coach.
Okay.
And so I actually help people do that.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Lynn. I'm looking forward to another conversation with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope something in here, again, I'll say this over and over again, resonated with you so that your life becomes greater, it becomes more enriched, that you change something about yourself that changes your life. And by the way, when you start to change yourself, I guarantee you people will start to look at you in a different way, hopefully in a better way because you've changed in a better way, and we can go on and have more love, peace, and happiness and success in our lives. Thank you for watching today, and I hope you have a wonderful week.
You have been watching The Wisdom Cafe. Join me each Wednesday at 3 p.m. to explore what it is to be human and create that second chance, as I examine ways about how you can have more peace, love, and happiness in your life. Until next week, remember this: when you change what you do and the way you look at things, the things you look